Hello guys, this is going to be my second part of the USA Battle Royale video. So let's get started. So first of all, we can see nothing really happening in the beginning except for Iowa and Missouri declaring war on Illinois. Which first of all seems good for them because there's not that many people that are helping Illinois right now. But in the meantime, we see the start of the war. We see them pushing into the country pretty fastly and grabbing on to some territory in the north by Iowa getting made. And after that, the Illinois troops start making their way up there. But in the meantime, Missouri and Iowa make their way down to Springfield, which they soon have to get really close to the city and capture it, which makes the end for almost all of Illinois. But in the meantime, nothing else really happens until they make a landing in Chicago from the Minnesota person going through Michigan. But in the meantime, we see the beginning of Indiana pushing into it. So we see a massive push made by Indiana because they know that's going to be a pretty easy fight. They also fight Iowa and Missouri in this area over here, taking it over with Wisconsin and Indiana. And then we see the fall of Illinois, which is bad for the blue team losing another life. But in the meantime, we see the size pretty big over here. But yeah. Right then, we have the borders getting formed of all the countries gained territory. As in the meantime, Iowa and Missouri gets lots of territory from it, and Chicago split between Wisconsin and Indiana, which is good. But yeah, in the meantime, we see borders start going off, and in the meantime, we see like a ginormous push with the borders finally starting to fall. And in the meantime, we don't really see the border starting to fall against Illinois and these other countries. They're not states anymore because I made them countries. But yeah, so technically Chicago's mostly under Wisconsin control, but it's still largely in Indiana's control too. But now after this, there's still enough states. There's about like maybe 50 or less. Most likely more than 50 states, but because some of them are getting independence, like new states or countries are getting made from this. But in the meantime, we see Kentucky making a forced landing in the country of Indiana, which is well for them. But in the meantime, you really don't see much of a change, except for that they finally made it up all the way to close to Indianapolis as they make a speed toward Indianapolis, capturing the city. But in the meantime, the Indians are like, heck no, we're going to push you out of Indianapolis in like 2 days. So in the meantime, they're able to capture all the territory back. And also, soon after this video is getting released, we're releasing our next part of the series with the years going by. And it will be a fun one too. But first of all, Ohio makes a landing in Kentucky as well. But after that, we see the Indians having a large person, as well as the Ohio troops, which Kentucky's pretty strong because they have one of the most troops in each state. As you see, Tennessee taking territory as they start wiping out the state of Kentucky, as they push it all the way to the final places and they surrender, and Kentucky is gone. So now that Kentucky's gone, we basically see not a good of a time for them, but lots of states are made out of this, and a total of 0 states are lost because 0 countries are lost because Kentucky, there's another Kentucky state in the red zone, which is basically Kentucky, but a little bit tinier. As if you see, the borders are now going to change not that drastically. Tennessee just gets a little taller and not wider yet. But soon after, we don't see what's happening. And then we have the turn into New York, where they decide to do anything. But then we see, the green team of the Texas team puts into Las Vegas, and in the meantime start making a title was pushed into Nevada. But because it's so big, we don't really see much of a difference, because right now we just see a pushback in the country. But yeah, so right now we see them pushing them back just a tiny bit, as they push them back all the way to the border, and now basically wiping out the country. And the borders fall a little bit with them, as for a little bit they're having Nevada and California being united against them for a bit. So in the meantime, they break off the borders and basically start taking the territory. But after that, we see a large push into Arizona, which used to be under their control. Just gonna say that. But in the meantime, we see Arizona going to their control, which makes it really good for them in their empire. But yeah. So next, what do you think is gonna happen? Because the next thing that happens in here is that we see basically nothing, but then we see the invasion of New York by literally about every single person that borders them. So Michigan makes a good landing on the coast, starts taking their coastline on the Great Lakes. Well, is that good? I kind of getting it. I think it's a Great Lakes, but then the red team, which is Ohio and the new state, pushed away. I'm just gonna call that new state, like the Pennsylvanian state. It's like it will be the Pennsylvanian state. So Indiana and Ohio make their way into Michigan, capturing Lansing. Lansing, I think that's how you say it. But yeah, as they keep pushing in, they wipe out most of Michigan, and in the meantime, we see basically surrender of New York, because it's basically almost useless now, because they're literally just about to do a full set invasion on them, which makes it basically impossible for them to attack. As in the meantime, they have the invasion of New York again, which is bad for New York, which is the purple team. Soon after, the purple team probably will be wiped out off the map, which might be our first team to fall. But New York's team wasn't that strong in this game, as in the meantime, they captured a lot of New York, and we basically see New York surrendering, as Michigan in the meantime captures all the territory back. And yeah, and then we see Michigan, not Michigan, but Maine being added to the group. to it because they just wanted to get them out of the thing. And now there's lots of territory being given to every state. But yeah. But yeah. So there's lots of areas on this map that are looking good for the red team. As the red team does have most of Illinois, which means their population is way better in this. But so in the meantime, the next move that we made is not much. But the borders are really good for them right now. But in the meantime, we see lots of places being given into the new state. And yeah, as I see one state is lost and 2 states are made, which means a total of 1 state was made in this battle. Well, country was made in this battle. Well, most of the thing is over in the east, but people are arguing about this region, like in the area of near this triangular area, not triangular, but circular area. Everybody's arguing over here, which will be a conflict that gets fought over a tiny bit. As we see the orange invading, we see the greens invading them. As in the meantime, they push. As we see who would win this battle. The winner of this battle will get lots of their territory. Will get that territory. So we see a person onto them, grabbing that, and they win the war. So they get that tiny little territory up here. But yeah, so it was a little battle that they had some fun with. But yeah, so that territory is going to be given to them as a good thing for them. But yeah, so in the meantime, you really don't see much change onto the borders. But so in the meantime, we're going to see the state of Arizona becoming a little bigger. But yeah, after their phase of this video, they're planning on making a thing where they invade Minnesota, which they decide to do. And after their phase it on them, they're able to piss them off, which is good for them. But in the meantime, Wisconsin makes their person do it and take over lots of the state, which makes most of the state go to their control, which is good for them. But yeah, so what do you think will be happening after Minnesota falls? Well, good luck for you trying to guess. But yeah, so we see Minnesota surrendering, and that's basically it for Minnesota. As there's only about 7 minutes left of this video, what are you guys gonna think is gonna happen? Yeah, it's a little hard here. See, what do you think will happen? But lots of states are given toward it. No states are lost. No countries are lost in the battle. But yeah, so I just wanted to say anybody had for this Ohio-Purdue game. Yeah, it's gonna be a good game. But then we see the fall of Michigan because they know their team was gonna fall, which it did soon after fall. But their entire team basically doesn't exist, which the only other person except for Michigan was the country of North Carolina. So the blue team's almost wiped. But who do you think is gonna win here? So in the meantime, we have a push into Mississippi by the red team as they push pretty fast into the country. they're able to control a lot of territory. In the meantime, we see the green team, the lime team, pushing in and wiping out some of the troops out here. And in the meantime, invading the pig team by invading the territory and capturing lots of Louisiana just by in like the first few months, well, for the first 3 months of the war. There you see the pig team surrendering, losing lots of territory. What do you think is going to happen soon after this as more states are getting formed? And shortly after this, there'll be a video made with that. But soon after, we see states get rolled down in Mississippi, and we see lots of the territory getting split. As that's basically almost it. And if you're watching this right now, there's about 4 minutes left in the video. But yeah. So after that, we see lots of places going under red control as they lose a little bit of territory in the Tennessee region, which for some reason gets added to Arkansas, which is the only country that borders it. That's on the lime team, which is the Texas team, basically, as they gain territory, as well as Texas gains territory. And in the meantime, one new state is made. Well, country is made. 2 countries were made, and 1 country failed, which means 2 countries were made. So, what do you think is going to happen in here? There's not really much that's going to happen here in the end. But in the meantime, we see they push it to the West Virginia Panhandle after wiping out lots of territory. But then we see them falling, and then we see the yellow team doing their best, trying to push them out, which they're able to push them out entirely. Then we have a peace treaty. None of the borders change at all in the peace treaty. But yeah. But in the teams, West Virginia decides to join them. But this is the team changing, so 3 states decide to join the red team. The green team gets 1 state added onto their list. The pink team gets 1 state added to it. Well, there's 2 right now, but yeah, they get 2 states. In the meantime, as the Pacific team gets 1 state, the orange team gets 2 states. Washington and Idaho. Every team gets a state. And then in the meantime, we see them down here gaining a state, which is that little state right there. And yeah, they also gain Colorado. But so the next team that will be gaining territory is the yellow team, which gains North Carolina and then nothing else. It's just that. But in the meantime, it's the light blues team to get their turn, which they get the Pennsylvania state. But yeah, that'll be the end of it. So